Excellent.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Can't wait. Now, I mean, James said it before. Loda farmed like wow. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, let's be fair. He went Midas. TC didn't go Midas. The Weaver has an easier time farming in that game because of his mobility, and it's very difficult to catch him out of position. So once the laning phase breaks down, you can abuse the map a bit more than TC could have given the circumstances.
And he had entirely a total of 1 gank.
Yes.
So with that in mind, we also have another amazing farmer, but also team fighter in XVOST. And I'm going to go on a limb and say that will be the matchup of the day. The two guys that we want to see who is going to outplay the other.
Who is going to game more?
Yep.
Is it game more or game harder?
Game
5 seconds.
Wouldn't it be both? Yeah.
game more harder.
Game
No,
more,
no,
yeah.
it wouldn't be game more harder. No, sir.
It would be.
Let me just step in here as the grammar police. That will not happen.
Game more harder.
Look at this. Apparently, Loda is better than XVOST in 6 out of 7 categories.
Yep. The only thing he isn't good at is totally nice. Because he's too friendly and too nice to kill his own people, because that's weird, right?
But you know what? In terms of categories and who wins, it's ridiculously close between the two. Every single category that Loda wins, it's barely a win.
Assists.
Like, look at assists.
0.1.
Yeah.
Yeah, goal per minute by just by about around 50. XP per minute by about 30.
10 seconds
Well, exactly
remaining.
30. Yeah, it is close.
And also you have to consider some of those stats
5
kind of lend
seconds
themselves to the
remaining.
play style of the team. When Alliance run more split pushy type of styles, you see a little bit less kills, but you see more GPM.
Turn to bed.
And then of course you have, I guess, in my opinion, one of the real El Clasicos, which is Dendi versus S4.
Yeah.
And here it's entirely to the other side. It's Dendi getting the best of everything
But
except
again,
assists.
only just.
He's not a team
Only
player, man.
just.
Yeah.
But you know what's
remaining.
funny about that is that Dendi is actually known as the mid player who focuses on
5
his lane
seconds
more
remaining.
because S4 is actually the in-game leader anyway. So S4 is the guy who plays around the team a bit more, so it makes
Reserve time.
sense that he would have more assists because he kind of sets up the flow of the game, whereas Dendi has Puppey to make all the call shots, and he just sits there and he's like, I'm going to win my lane
NaVi's turn
as
to
hard as I
pick.
can to make sure that our game plan goes well.
That's right. And you know, you're correct. That's funny. And you know what's funny?
Excellent transition, by the way.
Kaboom.
All right, I'm going to be totally honest, that was awful.
You know what else is funnic? There you go.
Yeah.
AdmiralBulldog,
that was not
apparently.
funny.
Alliance turn to
Bulldog in every
Fun,
category.
Funnick, get it? Okay.
We
Nice.
got one. Woohoo!
Woohoo, there we
Well
go.
done.
Why is it that every single matchup is everything in one person's favor except for one?
One thing.
Like 3 times in a row, we have a matchup where somebody dominates everything, and then there's one tick
Well,
to the other.
we
person.
can't know unless
there's
we
not
keep
enough room
going.
for 7 ticks underneath the picture. Bruno's,
Yes, so
That's true.
he has to fudge the
That
stats.
is true.
So we just
But
keep
see,
going.
Now you're playing the law of
10
probability,
seconds.
which
Yes.
basically says that eventually it's not going to happen, and it's going to be this one.
No.
5 seconds remaining.
Really?
Wow.
Wow. Okay. These are just bug stats.
Is there one we haven't done?
Reserve
We haven't
Yes,
done Kuro.
Kuro and
Kuro
EGM.
and EGM. Let's check.
So
let's
we're
do
going
that
for
one.
that one.
Come
This
on,
is-
I'm going to say this is going to be 3-4. It's going to be
Yeah,
close.
this one has to be close.
3-4 to. I'm going to say
turn
3-4 to
pick.
Kuro.
Go Kuro. 2.
Oh,
Oh, there's the
Oh.
one. Okay. Yeah.
man.
EGM
5-2.
5-2.
edges him out.
Well, Alliance just won, I guess.
Well done,
Yeah.
Alliance.
There you go.
First pick Alliance, Lich as well, and there'll be Clockwerk. We saw Funnick playing yesterday superbly well. Maybe he'll continue. Maybe he's been watching some of my Clock
10
games.
seconds
And look at
Downloading those
Navi
replays.
in the recent games as well. They won versus Liquid and EG, that was in our league.
NaVi's turn to
And they
pick.
also won versus
NaVi's
Empire and Power
turn to
Rangers.
ban.
They have been unbeaten in the last 4 games, while Alliance, they have been doing pretty well. Well, of course, we don't have still the game that just happened, but they only lost to Fnatic. And remember, they just came from Korea, where they destroyed
10
DK. And
seconds remaining.
they destroyed
Destroyed. Yeah. It was bad.
DK. It was pretty bad.
Alliance's
So I want to talk a
turn
bit
to
about the
ban.
Lich and the Nature's Prophet together.
Yes.
It
Together in
seems
the
a
same
bit
lane?
Counterintuitive. Well, just on the same team.
Okay.
Because let's consider the following. When you win a lane, the important part about winning a lane is not just getting the extra experience and gold, but it's also getting the map
10
control from
seconds
killing the tower.
remaining.
Lich does not actually help your push at all. He actually stops it.
Yep.
Because he denies a creep every single wave that comes in. So you're
Alliance's
going to be really
turn to
focusing on
ban.
winning a lane super hard to make sure that the Lich is actually worth it in this case. And if they want to do a 2-2-1, That's perfectly fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that if you're going to be running a Lich. I think it's actually favorable than running him in a defensive tri-lane, or an aggressive tri-lane for that matter,
10
and having a
seconds
profit, because
remaining.
that way, at the very least, you're going to have another lane that's not going to be as
5
dependent
seconds
on
remaining.
making sure that you win super hard, and then the Nature's Prophet can teleport to wherever he needs to. So
Reserve time.
Alliance picking a little bit, I wouldn't say weird, but for their style, I don't really feel like a Lich suits them that well.
Akke does like a lich, though.
Yeah, it's one of those supports where you can kind of cut off your legs and you give everything for the greater good.
Oh, but now you get some.
Do you suppose also,
Yeah, you do get
given that
some.
we just saw in the stats about how, I mean, Dendi is
Alliances
incredible at
turn
last
to
hitting and
pick.
farming mid, so the Lich comes in there and denies him 25% of his creeps. Isn't that worth something?
It is. I'm not saying like it's bad or
NaVi's
anything. I just
turn
feel
to
as though
pick.
the way that he plays, it doesn't lend itself to going for early game map control. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot more emphasized on just the lane itself. Let's deny as much as we can from X or Y and try to get somebody farmed and keep the lane in our favor.
Also, there was a thing that somebody put together that was stats from, what is it, 300,000 games?
A
I
lot of
think?
games, yeah.
And they were looking at, you'll find it if you Google
10
for it, they were
seconds
looking at the
remaining.
win rate of heroes over time of game. So as the game goes on,
5
it was a
seconds
curve that they
remaining.
plotted to show the win rate of those heroes. Someone like Lich, it's a downward curve very
Reserve
steeply.
time.
And I think that, Andy, you were saying the other day that Lich is a hero who, he's okay, he's okay, he's okay, he's
Alliances
good,
turn
and then
to
suddenly it's like, boom, just falls off the map.
Turns into Puppey
Yep.
in a big way. But what's important to keep in mind here is that NaVi don't have any BKB carriers yet. I assume in this type of game, the Clockwerk's probably going to go for a Blade Mail before he'll go for a BKB. And the Batrider will get a BKB, but not until he already gets 2 items. So the relevance of Lich is going to be a little bit prolonged because of the fact that he doesn't have to worry
10
about that magic
seconds
immunity so
remaining.
early inside of the game. And to be honest, once Clockwerk throws at the hook,
5
him and
seconds
CM together
remaining.
are pretty immobile in terms of what they can do in a fight. So that with a Magnus, Chain
Reserve
Frost can do some
time.
pretty serious work here.
yeah.
We just have yet to see what Alliance's real plan is going to be yet, because they can still go both ways. They can pick a
Indeed.
Weaver again because it's available, and then you're going to have an empowered Weaver potentially, and you still have a really good teamfight hero in the Magnus to compensate just in case things go awry, and then you can last pick another support.
I like the word alright because it's just so close to being alright, but it's not.
All right, but it went awry.
Alright.
Yeah.
I would love to
At
see
your
Sven.
service.
Why don't people pick Sven anymore?
NaVi
Because Sven
turn
is
to pick.
incredibly easy to
Because-
kite, and he is that 5-man I want to try to just game on you type of a hero.
Yeah.
Although I suppose you could run him with Wisp.
And because it's kind of like complicated not to stun boars.
Yeah, that's true. What, Sakshka did that, right?
Yeah, Sochka did that. Poor Sochka.
Rip.
So question here, I'm trying to guess the
Alliances
Lich.
turn to ban.
Do you put him in mid lane with the Magnus to try
I think
to help
it's dual offlane
Sankin.
with a windrunner or with
Yeah. with Windrunner.
a okay?
I think. But I mean, when we say the last pick, it'll make a bit more sense.
10 seconds
we can
remaining.
change things, and now you
They-
send the prophet.
Well,
to
actually,
the-
no, maybe
5
it's not a dual
remaining.
offlane. Well, no, it still could be a dual offlane, but it could be Prophet Lich and then support
Reserve
Windrunner.
time.
support windrunner goes
Yeah.
bottom.
I got another question for you. How come, I mean, Quap used to be like the mid and banned or picked. Why are we seeing Quap picked up as much? or
You know
banned as
she's
much?
having a very bad
NaVi's
win rate.
turn to
I don't
ban.
have it here since they haven't picked the hero or banned her. But her win rate right now is in the low 40%.
What is happening to Quap?
Your guess is as good as mine. The thing about that hero is
10 seconds
if she
remaining.
doesn't get the game going their way because she's such a momentum-based hero
5
that goes into the
seconds
mid game,
remaining.
things might be getting a little bit more complicated. And with picks like Elder Titan destroys
Alliances
Quap
turn to pick.
when people was like, no, that could happen. Like Queen of Pain destroys every single mid hero. It's kind of by the time when that hero appeared, then Queen of Pain started disappearing as well. And I really don't know. I don't have a specific question. It's kind of like it went out of fashion. But
I can help.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so let's consider the following
Should have
first.
stopped me before that. You know?
6.78. No, I just wanted to hear. I honestly was curious of what you thought about it. That's why I didn't stop you. But now that it's become
5
obvious that you
seconds
don't know,
remaining.
Yes.
A stinging rebuke.
this is my opinion on it, right?
Sure.
Before
Reserve
6.78,
time.
you had a lot of tri-lanes, you had a lot of underleveled supports, and it's very easy to be able to pick off heroes like that with incredibly high bursts. So that's one reason That is an amazing pick, by the way, and I
Oh,
freaking
yes.
love it. So we'll
Yes.
talk about that in a second. But as far as the Queen of Pain goes, you have a hero who is very good at pushing the advantage when you're ahead. So Bruno's right about that. It's snowball oriented. So you're going to have a lot of games where you're going to have things like Keeper of the Light and Wisp, for example, who are very easy to just pick. And you can move around a lot. And when you're roaming into underlevel
Lina.
supports, it's very easy to have a high success rate in terms of your ganks. And yeah,
XVost Lina?
massive burst damage coming out on the side of NaVi.
Lina, I love
Look at
this.
this lineup.
The two sisters.
This is like the gamiest of game lineups.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen NaVi play the sort of no carry lineup before.
Well, Lina can technically carry.
I've never seen that. Oh, what is?
What?
Sorry, there was an Excel spreadsheet behind me on the
Oh,
television.
okay.
I was confused.
Everything's fine. No, they didn't see the spreadsheet.
No, they
but
didn't. Okay, good.
I do want to finish the thought on Queen of Pain before it just gets lost because of the excitement of seeing a bristleback and a carry Lina. But other than the fact that there's not really that many underleveled supports anymore because people often go 2-1-2, you see a lot more self-sufficient supports and that they're not just do-nothings until level 6. Kind of like a Keeper of the Light has no escape mechanism, but now you see a lot more CM who can disable. You see actually Lina sometimes now as well, Sand King. Perfect examples of supports who can actually do shit in the early game. So even if they are underleveled, they still have mechanisms to stop the Queen of Pain from just running rampant all over the team.
Interesting. So it's the meta has changed and the hero is unable to prosper.
Yes, but let's talk about bristleback.
Yes, let's.
Are we not going to talk about the Lina carry?
We'll go there later.
Okay, all right. Let's come to that in a minute.
Bristleback.
I love Bristleback, okay? He is like one of my all-time favorite gamey game heroes.